Okay guys, so once again, welcome to my shop. Got dropped off a little 3.3 Mercury. I got a note with it. Actually had a pretty nice video, but forgot to hit the record button of taking all these cowlings off, and about this note stating that they have a 3.3 horsepower two-stroke that won't stay running, maybe the carb, and won't shift into gear. So I've already pulled these cowlings off. These are all the bolts that it takes to get this cowling off, which is a bit much. And we've looked into the fuel tank already, and the fuel tank is full of rancid fuel. You know, I obviously need to get the gas out. I don't want to run it on this fuel. And I've disconnected the two bolts that hold the gas tank down, the one down here and the one back here, so I'm loose, but I don't want to disconnect it before the diverter valve because I don't want to spill this gasoline all over my shop. Rancid fuel stinks and it's hard to get that smell out. It takes a week almost sometimes, and I don't like the smell. So anyways, what I'm going to do is pull it off at the carburetor. What I'm going to be doing is draining this fuel tank completely, make sure there's nothing old left in the lines or diverter valve, and then we will clean this carburetor and put the gas tank back on, put the cowlings back on. I'll show on video how the cowlings go back on. That should give you an idea how they get pulled off. And looks like this motor is a 2005, very clean motor. So let's get started. Let's get this fuel line off first. So I put my GoPros on the shelf and I picked up a DJI Action Cam 5 with a wireless mic. So this is my first attempt at using it. That's kind of why I forgot to hit the record button, because I'm really not familiar at all with it yet. And made a mistake already. But I'm hoping this does better in low light conditions so that you guys can see better, and also so that you guys can hear me better, because the mics, I believe, help a lot. I don't truly know yet until I edit this video. So let's see what happens. I hope it's a game changer. All right, so there's my tank. I didn't spill anything. So now we've got our fuel tank off. Removing these cowlings definitely helps out with being able to access everything big time. Hopefully I don't have to pull this pull start assembly off. It's only a couple screws, but I don't want to pull any more apart than I have to. I never remember how to put this thing back together. So to get this front panel off, we're going to pull our lanyard, obviously. There is right here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a screw that holds this throttle assembly. Don't lose that screw, it's very small. That comes off. Put this to the side. And this assembly here should be held on. Are these two screws here. One. Two. Same deal with your choke knob. It's got a little Phillips screw on the inside. Whoa, do not lose. All right. This plate should come off of the carburetor itself. It is going to have the it's going to have your safety lanyard right here. You can unplug that or leave it. I'm going to just leave it to the side because I don't need to unplug it right now. It's grounded up here. All right, now our carburetor, it's kind of unique. It looks like it's just held on by a clamp. So yeah, it looks like a 7/16 clamp, maybe 10 millimeter. Right, that worked, whatever it was. Okay, so now our carburetor should twist and come off. Alright, so there's our carb. Very cool, man. Alright, so to take the bowl of this carburetor off, there's going to be a Phillips head screw here and a Phillips head screw here. I think this is the first time I've ever cleaned one of these. I prefer the big motors over the small motors. Little motors are very tedious and can be real rough on you sometimes. There's a cork style gasket under here. I'm going to try not to rip this because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this gasket anywhere. So, it's still in pretty good shape. Let's see. It's our float, our bowl. Our bowl's not too terribly dirty. But I believe our float is probably stuck. Our needle is stuck in there. So if the needle gets stuck, it's a bit hard to see. See if I can get some light on it. Okay, so there's a needle in there and it sits on this float, and the needle comes up and down. When the needle goes in, it stops the fuel from going into the carburetor. As the carburetor starts to run out of fuel, the float lowers and the needle allows more fuel to come in. Well, when carburetors sit for a long time, sometimes that's an issue. This needle will stick in there and it will no longer allow fuel to get in the carburetor, and without fuel you can't run. So let me see if I can get that thing out of there. We're going to have to remove our set pin first. Let's get our set pin out of this carburetor. Okay. And we can remove our needle's really stuck in there. I like to get this off of that needle so I can work the needle itself separately rather than forcing it and possibly damaging this this section here. Ooh, that needle's stuck. There we go. Alright. We did okay. So the gum and varnish from old fuel will make it stick. You want to take a look at your needle. There's a few things that you need to look at. You need to look at the coating on the needle, see how corroded it is, if it's cleanable or if it's actual corrosion in the needle. And you also want to check the pliability of the tip of this needle. It should be rubber. It's rubber, and it should still be nice and pliable. I don't know if I'm going to leave this gasket on here or not. I'm pretty certain that the 3.3 Mercury carburetor gaskets are going to have to be ordered. I don't think they're in stock anywhere, so on this carburetor, for the most part, all we have is a bowl gasket and a needle. The base gasket itself, there is no base gasket. It clamps around that opening, and the inside of the carburetor has an O-ring on the inside here, which that actually feels pretty good. That's a rubber O-ring, so that's definitely reusable. This gasket's in decent shape and I should be able to reuse it. And I think I can clean this needle up. It's really not bad and it is still pliable here. Varnish had it stuck down in the seat, and that is why it would not get fuel in the carburetor. Carburetor itself may not be that dirty, but if it can't get fuel, it can't work. So we'll pull our main jet out of here. Gonna make sure all these jets are clean. I'm not certain if anything else comes out of this carburetor. A lot of carbs will pull the tube out of the center, the idle tube. This tube is very important. It's got holes in it. It's called an emulsion tube. And what it does is it creates a vacuum and pulls fuel into the carburetor. When there's a vacuum, it emits it through the tube. We're going to pull all this apart this time. Okay, we need to loosen this and loosen this, and that should enable us to spin this out of here. Okay, so to remove this, I'm going to grab this with a pair of pliers and a 13mm open end, loosen that. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can spin this without it turning the whole assembly and binding up. It still may. Do need to get that out of the way. There we go. Okay, so this assembly comes out of here just like so, and down in the bottom is my tube that's down there. Now if this doesn't pop out, oh it does, beautiful, so cool, man. Okay, so this carburetor is going to need to go in an ultrasonic most likely, and this tube is clogged solid. We're going to need to soak this carburetor. I thought I'd get lucky on this one and just get the needle freed up, blow it out, spray it off, but this one's going to need a little more in depth. There may be, and I'm not positive, some passages in here that come out the front or go somewhere that are currently clogged up as well. And it needs a little more TLC than I assumed. Okay, so we're back. I've soaked this carburetor, went and got some food, and come back, rinsed everything off, and I believe this throttle body to be very clean at this point. Super simple carburetor. It's got a needle and a seat and a float. It's got your emulsion tube, and it's got a main jet right here, and that's about it. Your throttle accelerator right here, but other than that, that's really it. So let's get our emulsion tube back in here. Press that down. Now, by dismantling this completely, I have discovered that there was some stuff in the emulsion tube wasn't 100% free, and our main jet now seems like it might be a little bit clearer. Alright, so that's back together. We are going to drop our accelerator setup down there. This groove right here has a little angle to it. That's going to go up against our idle screw, because like I said, that idle screw goes in and it presses this, and that helps to raise this up to suck a little more air, which creates a little higher idle because it draws more fuel. So we're going to set that back down in that direction. Alright, there we go, we got that dropped in. And now we're going to thread it back down. This arm actually faces the front for the throttle, so we're going to tighten it down in that direction. And we're going to snug up our bolt up here again. Now if I get the cowling on and this is a little off, we can make some adjustments here if necessary. We're going to put our O-ring back where the carburetor meets the intake. Assemble our needle and seat. First our needle goes on this groove right here, and it slides over like this, and carefully drop it down into the seat, set it, and now we will put our roll pin back in. Make this a little more easy, I'm going to lightly set it into this vise so it can at least hold it in position while I work on it, because it is not user friendly. Okay, so our needle is going to go on here. I'm going to set it down into the seat, make sure we don't come detached, and then push our pin through. Okay, our pin is now in. We're going to want to take a look, make sure our needle is raising, and it seems to be working good. Our float drops down, flat side down. We're going to replace our gasket for our bowl, and we're going to mount our bowl to here. Get our 2 screws for the bowl and get it started lightly. Lift this lever up and help us get some clearance. Take a Phillips head and snug them down well. Okay, so now this carburetor is ready to put back on. And remember to make sure that your O-ring is still in the back of this carburetor. Now we're going to set this carburetor on. Push the carburetor till you know you're on that rubber seal. When you're on that rubber seal, the carburetor is vertical, straight up and down. We're going to tighten this clamp back down. Okay. We put our fuel line back onto the carburetor. So our fuel line is back on. We're going to turn our fuel on. Let that start to siphon. We're going to give that a minute or two to get some gas back in this bowl from the fuel line. Shouldn't take too terribly long, given that it flows very freely. Okay, so I'm going to get some water on this thing. I'm going to have to stop using my bathroom trash can. I got to find a small barrel or something. But I don't want to put a lot of effort into it, since I really don't want to be working on small motors all the time. Okay, so as soon as I choked it, the thing wanted to start. So this is a good sign. We still have the issue with the non-shifting, but in the meantime, I think it's going to run. And the carburetor is very clean at this point. Okay, our water is full. Let's see what we got. Oh, started right away, started pissing. Idle might be set a little low. Let's give it a little gas. And then we'll come back down to an idle. Actually, idling pretty good. It's still out there idling. Not bad. Give it a little gas. This is running pretty good. What happens when we shift it? I guess he thought it wasn't shifting because it wasn't running. Seemed to be in gear. What happens if I give it a little gas? Okay. So we start up and we run now. But we're not shifting. I wonder why that might be. This is a shifter here. And I don't see anything that should slide or isn't sliding. I wonder if the prop spun the keyway. Looks like a cotter pin in there, but there might be a keyway in there. It might actually be shifting into gear, but it's not spinning because it's could have sheared the pin in there. So let me check that out. See if we can figure out why we're not shifting. After I figure that out, I think I can go ahead and button this thing up. But in the meantime, I need to find out why. Alright, so now we got the running condition resolved. Let's see if we may have sheared this pin. bit of a pain to get out of here sometimes. I usually like to use a pair of side cutters to get these out. I'm not trying to cut it, but it usually gives you a lot of leverage. You grab a hold of it and without cutting it, pull it out. Alright, let's take the prop off. Prop does not want to come off. Why? There we go. Yep, that's it. Sheared keyway. See these roll pins or these shear pins inside these prop shafts, they meet right there, and it's designed so that if you hit rocks or the ground to shear this and not damage the lower unit. It's called a shear pin. All right, so our shear pin is sheared. I don't think I have any here. Sometimes on the engines they'd actually mount an extra one for customers, but I don't think they do that on this one. I'm not sure. I'll look at the cowlings, but I doubt it. The other problem sometimes can be trying to get this shear pin out of here, depending on how it's busted or how old it is. We need some kind of small chisel, maybe this one. I'm going to try to tap it out of there. I'm really hoping it just comes straight out and it's not a nightmare. It is an outboard, so you never know. This one looks like it's made of brass. Which seems to me brass is a very soft metal, so it should shear very easily. Man, oh man, got lucky. Sweet. Okay, so that's the when we kick this in gear. Yeah, we're locked in gear. Lower unit works great. Okay, so we are one shear pin away from putting the cowlings on and being able to let it go home. And let's check the cowlings. Now, some of the old motors down in the cowlings would have an extra shear pin. I do not have one here at all. Since we've diagnosed and basically repaired everything on this engine, we're going to go ahead and button it up because it starts and it runs great. It accelerates. The fuel's not old in it, and it's time to put this thing back together. Okay, now I'm going to take it out here and run the gas out of the carburetor so that we don't have that old gas sitting in the carburetor. So throttle's down, choke is open. Okay guys, so I think that concludes it. I'm going to let the customer know he's going to need a shear pin. He should probably buy a couple extras because that's something that small motors should always have on board, and he can put his prop back on and take this thing fishing. So anyways, that's it guys. If you like this kind of work, please like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for your support, and you have a good day. Till next time.